everybody, how you doing? This is Alex Calise and I'm reporting live from Winter NAMM 2020 and I'm here with Brian from PRS Guitars. How you doing today, Brian?
Doing great, thank you.
Fabulous. Now, what's new for 2020 for PRS?
So there's a lot. There's a lot in the, if you're familiar at all with Paul and his background, over the past couple of years, there have been new product lines, different price points. The SEs, which are all built overseas, but all come to Maryland. Two different lines built in Maryland, the S2s, which this is one here we'll talk about in a second, and then his core line, which are the hand-built like Ferraris that he's been making forever. So across the lineup, they've been working on some new finishes. All the guitars in the core line have a nitro finish that he's been working on. So that's been a change across the board. The pickups have been revamped through all the a video was just posted on the PRS site about that and his process. He's been working with this thing he calls TCI that he developed with John Mayer when they were working on the next guitar we're going to look at. And the way he kind of described it is almost like mastering the pickups, fine-tuning very specific frequency, resonant pitch frequencies,
right,
to really dial in specifically what he wants to happen with each pickup for each model. And once he discovered that, starting in 2020, they've redone all the pickups across the line. So there's some sweeping changes, but as far as new models, there's in the SE line and the imports, they have some new full hollow bodies, which is the first time they've offered those in that price point. They're amazing. This particular guitar is part of the McCarty series called the 594. The 594 was a model that came out about 4 or 5 years ago and quickly rose to one of their top selling guitars in their product lineup. Up until now, it was only available in the core instruments, in the high $3,000, close to $4,000 range. The S2s bring the 594s into the mid $1,000 range, from like $1,500, $1,600. So this particular one is called the thin line. It's all mahogany and slightly thinner body. The regular 594 would be a little thicker this and would have a maple top.
Right.
The main thing with the 594s is the scale length is 24.594 inches, and the neck profile on these is also a change for the S2 line. This is his wide, thin neck profile. So it's not just a big deal that these are offered in that price point, but there's some new options. The biggest difference in the S2s is that they have a flat top with a bevel, where most PRSs have more of like a violin style carve.
Right.
It greatly reduces because these are all hand built in Maryland, it greatly reduces the hands-on build time. So not quite half, but almost half the time to build this guitar. So that's why they can make it for a lot less money.
Right.
Still a hand-built instrument from the PRS factory in Maryland at a great savings. So any of the 594s are now available in S2s.
Right.
The other guitar that we have, Gene, if I can have the John Mayer and Paul have been collaborating on some instruments for the past 5 or 6 years. The Silver Sky came out 2 years ago, March of 2018, and up until now has only been available. There's been 8 different colors. They were all rosewood fingerboard.
Right.
So new for 2020, they've offered 2 new colors. This one, which is called Midnight Rose, which I fell in love with. This one's beautiful.
It's really pretty.
This is actually my guitar.
Oh, is it?
I snagged it right away when it came out. I was like, mine.
Yeah.
So it's but the maple fingerboard is new to 2020, and as you can see, it's got a satin finish on the neck.
Right.
Otherwise, you can get, there's 8 colors still. They discontinued 2, they added 2. But you can get all 8 colors in either the rosewood or maple fingerboard.
Okay.
So just more, there's a lot of people obviously in this style of guitar have been asking, like, I love it, I want a maple fingerboard option. Now you can do either one. Yeah.
Right.
So there's a couple other things. A Dusty Waring from Between the Buried Me has a signature model guitar that was offered as a limited run. Now that's part of the product lineup in 5 different finishes. Mark Holcomb has got a signature 7-string in the SE line. So there's so many new things. And, just really, I've been an artist with the company for a while, and I've always loved the guitars, but the hardest part is they keep coming out, the newer stuff they come out with, I want all of them.
I know, right?
I'm out of room, and I'm like,
yeah, you spend
like,
your entire paycheck on all of the guitars.
Yeah, but just the main thing with Paul and the company is that quality control is is paramount to them, and it's they fit somewhere in this kind of, they're not a massive company that's, but they're also not a boutique brand really.
Right.
And they really have the heart and soul of I mean, Paul's name is on the headstock. He's still there every day.
Right.
Designing, he's very much a part of it. But they're really going through a kind of a golden period of renaissance now, and it's fun to watch. So head up to the booth sometime and, play some. You said you haven't played one before, so come up and check them out.
I would love to.
Yeah.
You were also telling me a cool story about, because I was not familiar with the PRS before in terms of the fretboard. The inlays here, the birds. What's the story behind that?
So Paul, when he was building guitars in his teens, in the late 70s, early 80s, before he started the factory, he was doing everything himself. He was designing hardware, but the inlay was a big thing to him, and he wanted something different. And his mom was an avid birder, and she had like Audubon Society books around, and so he thought, it might be cool to put some inlays, and he designed these. And he put it out, it was going to be an option on a guitar, and he thought maybe like one in every 20 guitars somebody might order with the birds, and it turned out to be the other way around.
Right.
That quickly kind of became a signature trademark of the brand. So I've met at least 100 people with this line of birds tattooed down their arm, or
down,
cool. Like it's.
I actually have seen it too now that you bring it up.
Yeah. It's right away you can see it from a mile away. No, it's a PRS. They do make some guitars with dots. For somebody wants something traditional.
Right.
But most people,
that's no fun.
Most people, it's like a PRS without the birds just doesn't look right
birds,
to them. Yeah.
Right.
A friend of mine is an avid birder, so like he at one time went through and told me what each one of these were, like very specifically. I mean, that's a hummingbird.
Oh yeah. I didn't even realize that. Okay.
They're all different. Yeah. And if you get a private stock, it actually has an eagle on the headstock, so still keeping with the theme.
Okay, fancy pants. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
And then they're all like different versions, like in terms of like these, they're not colored in, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Typically, you'll see them; they'll be solid. But if you look, at PRS Guitars, they've made ones that look like brush strokes, and they've done variations of them. Some of them are multiple piece inlays where there's an outline, but also like other shell, like mother of pearl, abalone. They get, and when you get into the private stocks, they get crazy elaborate. If you want to see something really nuts, they have offered this year, the first time since 5 years ago, another Dragon, which is a limited run. I think 135 they made for this year. They sold out in an hour, and I don't even remember how much they're. It's, a lot.
Some change.
And they sell out, but there's an elaborate dragon inlay the neck. They've had some where the dragons go across the body. So
that's cool.
There are some PRSs that get really over the top aesthetically, and they're gorgeous.
I was going to say, because like my last name is Khalees, and like Khaleesi.
Yeah.
So I think the dragon would be really
That'd
cool.
be perfect. Well, there's one upstairs. You can. Yeah.
All right.
It's in a glass case.
For me, okay?
Yes, but
okay.
I'm sure if tell them you know us, maybe they'll pull it out and let you play it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for joining us. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell us about in terms of any of the new product lineup?
If you want to hear this guitar on the PRS website, the video was just posted today. If you have any questions about the pickups I was talking about, they just did an interview with Paul where he explains it all. So go to prsguitars.com. There's tons of videos, some of which I'm in, some of which I'm not. But I watch even the ones that I'm not in. But there's that they do a great job with the videos there. There's a guy named Andrew who produces and puts those out. Lots of information on the website as far as the different models. We try to do our best to demo them in a very neutral setting, clean amp so you can really hear the guitar. It's not about me showing off what I do. It's about what does this guitar sound like. So check out the website. You can really hear them all. Best thing to do is get one in your hands. Stop by the booth, go to a PRS dealer, check out what's new for 2020. There's a whole lot of great stuff, no matter what your price point is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Brian. And
Our pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.